Hey traders, Happy New Year! It is time for a skinny dip, and that is a close look at the ES and NQ futures. Today's Thursday, January 2nd, 2020. Gotta say that slow, still getting used to it. Alright, before we dive into the charts, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in this video. Alright, so we're starting off looking at the continuous contract chart of the E-mini S&P 500 futures. So every front month is being linked, and for index futures, the front month changes every quarter or every 3 months. So in case you didn't trade last year, in case you're new to trading, or just need to refresh your memory, let's look at what happened in 2019 before we dive into 2020. Well, as I mentioned to you in your year-end recap with Hima Reddy that we sent out earlier this week, the broad market, it started off strong, right? So after having this fall down into Christmas and Christmas Day, we've got the rally that ensued into April. Then from May through October, we basically had a giant sideways range, and then trading ramped up again. So there were a lot of opportunities within these upward trend moves, as well as during this sideways trading to extract profit from the markets. Where does it stand now? Well, for that, I'm going to switch to the current contract chart. So here we have the ES H2O. March is H, 2O is 2020 contract. So you can see it had a lot of sparse activity in its early days. Now it's fully liquid and on the move. So the price action over the past few days, including around the holidays, was as follows. We had a run up from the low on December 3rd, and then considering Christmas Day, December 25th, and New Year's Day, both which have no trading activity plotted, the market still just did a multi-day correction, which market timing would have brought your focus to, and is now resuming higher. Now, there are a couple nuances that I detail in the full Skinny Lifetime reports every day that will trigger the likelihood of further upside, another strong move, versus some sort of sideways action. And right now, it looks like this market is on the verge of continuing higher, but again, we need to confirm with intraday action. If the intraday action confirms my suspicion that futures do want to continue higher, then the next key timing point is out in January, in the later part of the month, January 24th. Now, how I come up with the key timing points, I teach in the loss forecasting trading system. And again, it's in the full Skinny every day that I detail the intraday moves and the nuance of the path that might lead the market into a new high on that date. How far the market will go up, I use a combination of market timing as well as Gann projections. And Gann projections are in one of the tutorials in the full Skinny. Now, what key price levels do we need to keep an eye on for all of this to play out? The first one is the current contract high. So I use blue for resistance, so I'm going to drop a blue line right here. And so I want to keep a real close eye on 3254. The other is Tuesday's low. So the New Year's Eve low at 3213. Because this price low broke on an intra-bar basis, the December 24th low, but look, we were never able to close below the December 24th low. So this is an important area of support. In fact, I would look at the December 24th low with a little less intensity, so I make it a dashed line, and the New Year's Eve low as a very important cushion of support. Okay, so those are the initial levels to watch for the next steps in the ES. Now let's go take a look at the NQ. All right, now we've got NQ H2O, so that's the E-mini NASDAQ 100 futures. I also document these in the full Skinny twice a week. Now this market moves at a different pace than the ES. And because of the technology market driving the price action, it tends to have more volatility in its moves. So you can see that we're still in today's session on Thursday, so we don't know if we're going to close above the all-time high, although it looks like there's a good chance of it. So that right there adds more confidence to the likelihood that NQ futures are going to be making another substantial move higher. And guess what? My market timing analysis points to the exact same calendar date as it does for the ES. So January 24th is showing up as really important, not just on the ES, but also on the NQ. And when I see market timing reiterating itself on unrelated markets, that usually means that that's a big day for lots of different markets overall. And again, in the full skinny, I will detail all the nuance of how the market might advance into a new price high into that date. So we looked at the resistance here that's currently being tested. So we'll make it a dash line. We might get a closing break above it. As for support, you can see that there's a double bottom. Now it's just a bar to bar double bottom. But when you look at this on the intraday charts, as I do in the full skinny reports, it breaks down to a double bottom. So there are measurable objectives and other ways to conduct analysis around it since it's a tradable pattern. So this double bottom, which the lower of the two lows is 8691.25, is super important to watch. Now, with all of this happening on the ES and the NQ, you also want to keep an eye on momentum. Remember, my trifecta is price, time, and momentum. Look at how the RSI power zones are not yet pushing back up into the bull resistance power zone. That alone doesn't mean you have to get worried about this market, but it is something to keep an eye on. And we want to see follow through, meaning if we see closing breaks above the contract highs to new highs, we want to see momentum also getting up into new highs, or at least getting back up into the bull resistance power zone. So keep an eye on that as well. All right, so that's what we're seeing in the NQ and ES. Key timing coming in for January 24th, and all the details and the pathway to that key timing point I will lay out for you in the full skinny. Catch you next time. You can sign up at himareddy.com/gift to get my hot, timely, actionable updates as soon as I publish right to your inbox.